had a vision.
We knew to warn everyone the bridge was going to collapse.
Everybody off the bus!
And minutes later, it did.
Death don't like to be cheated. Boy, I'd love to be that. I'd love to be that Negro, man. Just all he gets paid to do these days is to walk through a movie looking like he just got through smoking weed in his cars already, and just look at a bunch of white kids from down the street, and then come close to him and say, "Yeah, Death don't like to be cheated."
He always loves to tell you how pissed off Death is at you, and I'm like, wow, that's a dream gig. But he milks those scenes so much, and he's such a presence in these movies.
Yeah, Tony Todd,
boy, yeah.
Corey, there's actually nothing stopping you from doing that right now.
That's true.
I mean, all you got to do is go to a costume shop and get a black cordless jacket and just show up at funerals. Just get that deep voice and talk shit to people when they go like, "Who are you?"
You know, just get a fur coat.
Yeah. And they like, hey,
just go to your house and get one of your suits.
Get Leon's big brown fur coat, the one that used to belong to his wife, and just go around and just be Candyman. Just do that.
Okay, I thought you talking about I should be the pimp of Death.
That's what Candyman is.
I mean, like I show up, yeah, baby, Death wants his money. Gold teeth is.
That's pretty much what Candyman was.
That's what he did. No, that brother's cool, man. You know, he got his suit and he's in there for 5 minutes and just walks away whistling, and that's it. That's
all we got paid for that.
And he got paid for that.
We came to see Tony. Yay, that was a great 30 seconds or so. That was wonderful. Why didn't he sing? He should sing or something.
Yeah, he should do it. Final countdown. He's got like a guitar. That's why I would not do it, because I wouldn't get a check. I'd just be there. Of course, I'd show up for like the food or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, you'd be like, yo, you know what? Hey, baby, what's your name?
Man, who was that creepy black guy who just scared us? Wait, you mean the one over there at the food table?
Yeah, right. See, they should have you
with stuffing mints in his pockets.
Yeah, they should have you at the beginning of these movies now, which like that should be the new intro instead of the Home Depot exploding at you in 3D.
Yeah.
You know, which I guess that's how they start these movies. Which when you go watch a Final Destination, it kind of gets you ready. You're like, all right, you know, they start playing that Final Destination theme song with heavy metal, and they got shit thrown at you, and you're like, okay, this better be the one. This better be as good as part 2.
I never saw part 2. I've never seen any.
Oh,
by the way, I would be showing up at people's. I wouldn't come to the funeral. I come to the wake. Show up at people's houses, mouth full of food. Girl, don't like to be. Hey, girl, what's your name?
What the black guy say to you? I don't know. His mouth was full, just dribbling, and then he left with some blonde chick.
He palmed my ass before he left. I don't know what it was about.
You know what, man? I've never seen one Final Destination movie.
Really?
Here's the key to why people like the first 2 Final Destination movies and why the third and fourth one aren't that good. Part of the secret is the Rube Goldberg-esque nature of the deaths, that you're watching them start to play out, because it's like or death itself is trying to kill these people.
It's set up a mousetrap.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. It's like they're like, Death's not real good at this. You can almost hear Death go, no, like over and over again. Because usually there's like several steps where it's trying to kill someone and it fucks up the first couple times.
No.
But like the secret is in those first 2 films is you don't know. They're starting and you watch it and you're like, oh, they're going to get it this way. But then no, it's not. It's something else. And usually at the end you find out all these pieces came together in a way you couldn't have guessed. In the third and fourth one, the way it starts is exactly the way it ends up happening. But
yeah, I think
you're like, oh, look, that screw's going to fall out and that chair's going to fall down and kill that guy. And that's exactly what happens. In 5, hey, guess what? It's like back to the first 2 where you can't figure out how they're going to die again. And so therefore it's entertaining.
We're 3 and 4.
We're the first death.
Yeah, for 3 and 4, I honestly think for this newer one, I think Death was replaced by a Wile E. Coyote, because it's like you see how everything should go, and then you're like, all right, well, I fucked up, so I keep trying, and even though like with this new one, when the traps when you start seeing everything go into motion, is how these deaths should happen. What you get as far as the final product, you're like, really?
I know. I didn't feel that way.
Oh, I totally felt
I
that
did.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to get into what the movie's about before we start.
Yeah, I mean, because this is very easy to explain, because like I said, I haven't seen the first 4, and I guess they're not too different from this one. In this particular one, you have 8 people who survived a horrific crash on a bridge, or not a crash, a collapse on a bridge. Yeah, just some construction's going on. The whole bridge just falls, and all these people die in horrible ways. And turns out that most of the deaths that you see of these 8 people, it's a vision of one of the guys on a bus. And when he sees this, he says, shit, I've had a premonition. Everybody get off the bus. We're going to die. 8 people leave. But then all of a sudden, is it coincidence or is there some foul play here? Because one by one, those 8 people start to die in really gruesome ways. But the circumstances are totally accident. I mean, they're freak accidents, and it's like, what's going on here? Until the mystical, magical black man of death shows up and says, look, I'm telling you what's going on. You guys have escaped death. You have caused a wrinkle in reality that should not be here, and you should not be here. And pretty much death is going to come collect on your ass right now. It's not with interest. Now, death could just come up and just, say sleep, but no, death is like, no,
Death
y'all.
is clearly not good at his job.
Death is an asshole.
Death is
constantly fucking up and like letting someone know ahead of time that they're all gonna die, and they get away, and then he's like, oh man, that's on you. That's on you guys.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Why did they have that dream in the first place? That was your bad.
Death is
just eat that shit. And
it is like that, man. Death is just kind of like,
God loves to fuck with people.
You know what?
Death is a sore loser.
Yeah, death is kind of like, do you know the trouble you put me through? I should be looking at Mr. Johnson down the street getting him. I'm fucking with your ass right now.
He's got to balance the books.
So for my time, I'm going to set up a nice trap just so I can sit back and eat some popcorn and watch you die in a really horrible, but for me, kind of funny way. And so, I mean, these movies are, look, not having seen any of the others, to me, this movie was a straight up comedy. You're right, co-host. It's a bloody Looney Tunes cartoon.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, and I say it's a comedy because it's very comedic in tone. I mean, they do things intentionally for laughs in the movie. I mean, there's one part that involves like an old Asian woman and this just asshole that's gone in for a massage, and the way that the whole scene works out, it's made for laughs.
No, there's
really
no
is.
question that this is one of those horror series that isn't trying to be scary at all. They're not even trying. They're much like the Friday the 13th films. You're in it to see the kills, right? And,
just like the Saw movies, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that in a lot of ways for me, this is my favorite of any of those series because of the nature of the Rube Goldberg death. Just trying to figure out, how's it going to happen? How's it going to come together? I mean, the best one, the second one, was easily the funniest of the whole series. It just wore it on its sleeve.
The second one was like
in
the
it
Empire
for laughs.
Strikes Back of the series. It really was. Because you're like, that first movie was fun only because it has such a great premise.
Yeah.
It starts off with, how am I going to die on this plane? Which I know every time I step on a plane, I always fucking have a Final Destination moment right before the plane's about to take off.
I will never ever fucking fly with you again.
I'll be sure to describe you very vividly about that next time we fly together.
On the glass like William Shatner.
Yeah. Well, my torso will get torn apart by the back of the wing. Or
Co-host is on the way.
my head gets split in half or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's what sold that first movie, and it worked so perfectly. And, you can say what you will about the deaths that happened after, where the second one just took that idea. It really took it to a place where you're like, man, this is fucking awesome. Not only are these deaths cool, but there's never a moment where I looked at any of the deaths in part 2 and thought, okay, this is looking like a goddamn SpongeBob cartoon right now. It's like all this shit, but it's so cartoonish. It's like, I'm not buying it. It really has no effect. It's more for me to laugh and chuckle, which 2 didn't do that for me. And this new movie, though, I have to admit, the very first setup where this girl's doing gymnastics, I thought it was perfect.
No.
I never give out spoilers.
Trailer.
Yeah,
you see,
they show that extensively.
but you give it. But it's like
There's no question once any scene starts where someone's going to die that it's a scene where someone's going to
exactly.
die.
Yeah.
The
But they
music's
set it
like,
up.
All right, here it is.
Yeah, but they set that up so perfectly to where I'm thinking like, okay, this is probably going to be a good fun film. But after that, I thought they honestly got real lazy with the kills.
Well, what's so great about that scene is that she's dancing around this screw, and you're less affected by how she's going to die as just waiting for her. You're wincing, thinking of how she's going to step on that screw. And that's just like, God damn, I don't care about the death, but I don't want to impale myself in the foot when I'm not thinking about it.
And you're right, and that's a great scene.
Yeah, it is a great
And
scene.
this is why I don't do gymnastics.
Yes, that's the reason why.
Exactly why.
That's the only reason I can think of why you don't do
That's true. That's true. That was self-evident.
But I gotta agree with co-hosts. Like it's such a great Rube Goldberg, Wile E. Coyote setup that when the actual payoff of it, I was like, oh, well, I was hoping for something better, but we'll get to the next one. And I just thought they got lazier and lazier after that to where I was like, wow, these effects are terrible. It's sort of comedic but can't make up its mind. And some of these kills are just straight up boring.
I don't know. I didn't feel that way at all. I thought it was the most fun kills since the second one. This one, okay, straight up, it's the bronze medal of the Final Destination films, which is a dubious honor. But, it's something, right?
I'll give that to you, I guess.
It's a step back. It's a step back in the right direction.
If you have to give a kid an award, sure.
Well, from the previous
From
two
the Special
films,
Olympics.
Yeah.
From the previous two films that had pretty shitty initial starting off points, the roller coaster and the NASCAR race, they were both, those are kind of lame openings. And then most of the kills sucked in those. Like pretty much all the
They
kills
all did,
sucked in
yeah.
those. And then the characters were totally unlikable and they weren't funny. Here at least, I really thought they went a long way back towards the way they should be going with the kills, with the unpredictability of them, as well as the opening was great. The bridge sequence at the beginning, that was pretty epic.
That was fun to watch, yeah.
But the big problem is that, like, the big change they make this time around, which is this time, apparently Tony Todd just likes, he's experimenting himself. Every new group of kids, he's like, all right, fine. How about if you kill someone else, you don't die?
Right.
So you couldn't have mentioned this to the first or second group of kids at some point? I just...
Well, you should take that advice with a grain of salt because he's like almost chuckling when he's telling
Yeah,
these
I did,
kids.
yeah.
These kids are like, "What the fuck are we gonna do, man? We are fucked." He's like, "I got an idea."
When are we going to admit that just Tony Todd is dead? Let's face it. He obviously is, or he would be much more helpful.
Oh, you know what? You're right. He's just fucking with people. Like you think that he knows some kind of voodoo wisdom or something. Yeah. That brother's just high and just happens to be walking down the street. He's not a real coroner. He's been in his van smoking weed, and he's just like, I'm gonna fuck with these kids. Hey man, death is fucking with y'all. And you know what? Shit, you can escape death. No,
Escape death.
Just
you must take another life.
Just kill somebody else. You know? That's all you gotta
Clearly
do.
does not like white kids.
Yeah.
And he says these things to them to make them put a post-hypnotic suggestion in their brain that sets them up to get killed. Probably nothing would have happened to them had he not said something that made them paranoid in the first place.
Why are you following us? Who are you? What are you doing?
My job.
What's happening to us?
What makes you think I know anything?
You warned us. At the memorial service, you said death didn't like to be cheated.
It's just that I've seen this before. You changed things on that bridge. It's a wrinkle in reality. And that wrinkle is you.
Are you saying that we can't stop this?
You're not supposed to be here. You shorted death. So you let death have somebody else in your place, and then you take their spot in the realm of the living, all the days and years that they've yet to live. And they take your place in death. Then the books are balanced.
The whole, like, okay, so if you kill someone else, you're presumably you won't die, isn't really creatively used. You're like, okay, how is this going to play in to add a lot more tension to the story? And it comes kind of late into it, and the way it pays off is just a way to make the mechanics of the ending work.
You're right, but
together.
because I mean, like I said, I think that's why the movie, to me at least, towards the end, it just started to get lazier and lazier. When they bring in that plot point, you're just like, don't turn this into just something that is not Final Destination all of a sudden. And that's what the last reel of that movie becomes. And I'm just sitting there like, why did you do that?
I think it's because, I mean, really watching it, it's almost like it had run out of steam, except it needed something to propel, like, okay, we got to make these characters interact and something happen. So we got to use this as a reason for this character to do something that makes no sense and keep this going.
They're terribly drawn characters, maybe the worst of the whole series, except for maybe the lead kid, who I liked his performance enough that I was like, okay, I got to give him a break. He is pretty likable at least. But all the rest of them, and especially the way they expect you to buy the change in behavior from one of the characters that the ending depends on, you're like, really?
Yeah, it's too much.
It's just, come on, a
You know,
little more work.
That is the weakest point of this film, I think. The kid you're talking about is a kid named Nicholas D'Agosto.
The one looks like a young Tom Cruise with Peter Parker eyebrows.
I know, you know what?
I always thought he looked more like Noah, the guy from ER, Noah
Wiley?
Noah Wiley, yeah, for some reason to me. But I look at all these guys in this movie and girls, and then look, this is a cast of like no-name people. You got two black, C-list actors, Courtney D. Vance and I hate to say it, Tony Todd, and then you got like a comedic character actor who is David Ketchner.
Yeah, Tony Todd is like the biggest guy in your film. You're in trouble.
Yeah, and he is. That's the biggest name in there. You don't need him
in more stuff.
Yeah.
But
the black kid, wasn't he in Black Snake Moan?
Don't nobody know that kid's name. You can't even remember his name right now. But you know what I'm saying. But this is a cast of no-name people, so then they're not putting too much stock in the acting here, because the acting, it could either be the directing or the actors themselves. I'm just going to say like nobody gave a shit. So these kids have no strong lines to say. They didn't really give them any strong direction for their acting ability or lack of, and they know that the star of these movies is the kill. So I wasn't even worried about that.
Yeah, the director clearly knows that, because it's clearly evident to the movie, especially when they're bringing in plot points about relationship, like the main guy's relationship with his girlfriend, where you're like, okay, I don't care.
Nobody
and this is like a Hallmark commercial, and I don't care. Let's just get to the kills.
It's
already.
only for you to give two people to kind of root for, in a film like this. It's like, okay, you might not emotionally feel for these actors because they're not emoting that much. Why would you? But we'll give them a little love interest here, and well, for the sake of true love, you're going to hope that they make it through. But this director, Stephen Quell, where he lacks maybe in the drama department, he makes up for. I think, look, I had a lot of fun with this movie, and I think that this movie was very suspenseful and was very well directed as far as what they wanted you to see, and that is the kills and the setup for the kills. I noticed that every scene in this movie, not every scene, but there are several scenes when they cut to like a new location. It always starts out with something that is potentially dangerous. It's something sharp. It's something boiling. It's something that's really heavy. And it makes you nervous. At least it made me nervous. I was like, oh shit, I hope nobody gets it that way, because that's a horrible way to die. But that's why I'm here, so I hope they do get it. But I thought I thought that they really did set up this really good thick air of suspense for a lot of things. And Leon, you're right, man. That whole scene with the screwdriver on the balance beam and everything. It's just touches like that I thought that this movie knows what its strength is, and it put everything it had into that, and I think it did it very well. This guy, it was a visual director for James Cameron for at least I think for Avatar, and was a second unit director. And when I heard about that, I was like, oh shit, why is he moving on to a Final Destination movie? And I'm thinking like, all right, I can see why, at least, from a visual standpoint, from a tension standpoint.
That's why I keep saying it's like a step forward, because it's going back, it's getting that part right again, but everything else, you couldn't hire a punch-up writer, one punch-up writer, because it's just never funny. And it tries occasionally, but it's flailing around like a dying fish trying to be funny, You're like, what are you doing? Why? You just didn't even bother. It's so evident that you didn't even bother.
Yeah. Well, it's like pick a direction. Either go scarier or go funnier. But don't stay in the middle here, because this is not working.
Well, I don't mind. I mean the dialogue. I'm not talking about it. I think the kills were fun and funny. I don't look at them as that suspenseful, except for just, how's he going to get it? You're like rooting for the character to die every time a sequence starts.
And and I think it's great, because they really did have me. They got me most of the time. It's like I knew that that's not how they were going to die, but when they set it up and just showed you all these different appliances and cooking knives and weapons and hooks, I was like, I took for granted that, those first two things that I see are going to kill him. And then it was just such an elaborate setup that they got me every time. I was like, oh shit, it didn't happen like that at all.
But you know what? You saying that and this being your first experience with this series, I can only imagine if you actually take the time to go and watch the first and second film, you'll probably look back at this one and go, damn, they could have done a whole lot better, especially after, what I saw in the first and second one. I mean, because honestly, it is one of those movies where if you're fresh to this series, you're still going to enjoy it, only because that premise is such a great premise. Now, watching this, I was wondering, now, is this going to be the last of the series.
Of course
It's just,
not.
Because
They tried that already. Remember, they had the Final Destination, as in like this.
Oh,
is
you're right.
it.
Yeah, but it was
like,
but that one was so forgettable. Nobody gave a shit.
Okay, the next one will be called "No, for real this time."
For real, yeah, this is
Final
really-
Destination.
yeah.
And even this one was clearly not the final destination because there's like, all right, so there's always like the ending, which in this case wasn't that great, but there's always an epilogue because, we can't have anybody get away. There's always an epilogue to these things. And in this case, it was actually a really clever little twist at the end that I totally didn't see coming, and it made it the penultimate destination.
And you know what? Without me having seen any of the movies, I recognize what it was tying back to also. So
And I love that.
was
And
cool.
if I had to say two great things about this movie right now, I will say the gymnastics scene and the scene at the very end where I was like, wow, okay, those are great moments. I only wish they were in a better Final Destination film because I'm a big.
You said you liked the opening too.
The opening was fun, but it's still like after seeing part 2, like it sucked because after seeing part 2, you're like, all right, I'm still waiting for a newer opening,
and that's the
to
one
blow
with the big,
me away.
That's the one with the big car crash.
That's the one with
Yeah.
the big car crash.
That one's amazing.
Yeah, where that one was so amazing. It's just like it set the bar as far as where these movies should go, but it was done so well. You're like, man, I don't think they'll ever top that.
Plus, it like evolved the story. It was like, okay, they're actually doing something interesting. They're adding to what the original started. They're making new rules that make sense in the context of this story and are fun to watch play out. You're like, wow, I wonder where they're going to go from here. And then the next two were just like, yeah, fuck all that extra stuff. We're just going to kill it.
Yeah.
It's like, and this one has actually looked like it was trying to move forward again, and it did a little, but that's what I want to see the series do. I mean, wouldn't you like to find something in a future Final Destination where they go, okay, here's why these people keep getting these clairvoyant dreams. There's something else involved that is interfering with death.
You know what? You're exactly right. Even with this one film right here, I'm thinking there's other ways to go. You just, maybe not. It doesn't show that much to me. But I know people have seen a lot of these movies. You're going to have some sort of advancement in the story.
It's
like
fascinating
some new
enough of a
tricks.
premise that it's not just, it doesn't have to be another Friday the 13th or Halloween series.
Yeah.
You can move this shit forward, Why not? Why not do it? Seriously,
Yeah.
people will go see it as long as it says Final fucking Destination and teenagers die.
Yeah.
Do something different with the story.
It's almost
So it's
not
not for like the Dream Warriors.
Hey, the Dream Warriors was a huge hit.
Right, no, I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying,
Right.
you're saying it's time to do something like that.
It's
with
time
it.
to take
No,
a
he's
step
right.
forward.
I mean, like that. I think that's a great idea. It's like, they never explain why these people have these visions. If they want to keep doing them, then elaborate. That's all.
why is this happening? Why is no one asking, like, why are they getting these? Is Death just that bad at his job? Like I said earlier, it's like, not only these kids keep getting clairvoyant dreams right before something happens so they can keep it from happening, but he's having trouble even killing them after the fact.
I think Death is like a house cat that just likes to play with its food before it eats it.
Just walking around on the piano of life.
And if they ever do explore that, like where else you could take this? I mean, hell, they could even say that this Death is the same Death that's been like tormenting Frank Devin from the Naked Gun movies,
Right.
and like how every time they tried to kill that dude in those Naked Gun movies, it never succeeds.
Right.
It's like,
Or the Terry Pratchett's one in the Discworld series.
I was going to say why did and they could also be asking why is it always teens? Now we know from a business angle why, but also I guess if they were old people that'd be the most boring death in the world.
Yeah. People go, oh, well, he was going to die for too long.
The guy just falls. He sees his own death just falling over, and then when he has that vision, he does it anyway. He just, I've seen shit. But
Yeah, it is a heart attack after the vision.
right after the vision,
Yeah.
oh shit!
Oh, God!
yeah, hey, they have Final Destination every day at the fucking nursing home. Hey, nothing special about that.
Yeah, they didn't even get excited about it. Yeah, whatever.
Why don't somebody just finally ask? Hey, when Tony Todd comes in, motherfucker, who are you, man? For real. Why don't somebody follow him and see where he goes,
Well, they did that. I mean, actually, I think they did that twice in this movie. They're like, who are you, dude? You're always here. It's
But
like,
they always-
I'm just doing my
They
job.
don't come back. You always go, wouldn't you go visit him again when the shit didn't work?
Is it in the same city?
You'd be like, wait, how did you know that? Who are
No,
you?
I
This
don't
is
think it is.
fascinating. I need to know more. I'm going
See?
to do my college thesis paper about you, Tony Todd.
But see, that's another thing, man. I was asking, is it always in the same city? because
maybe it is. I
because
think
does Tony Todd, like, does he have a different job in a different city with every movie where they have these visions? Like, why you
Tony Todd, traveling coroner.
being the goddamn Uncle Remus of death? But you know what, man? It's
Got
probably
those little bluebirds floating around on his shoulders.
little skeleton birds.
The ravens probably singing.
Where is that vulture at? But you know, man,
Oh, death! Don't throw me in that briar patch.
man, I'm probably not fair to judge this movie because it's my first one. I had a lot of fun. I was clapping along with everybody else in the movie whenever somebody died, and you're right, they kind of become a little more uncreative as it goes along. And one of the character twists near the end of the movie, while I can understand, why they did it, and it might have worked had it been better written, it comes out of nowhere. I would have liked some better actors. I'm always looking for like a perfect movie, but hey, I got what I wanted out of this. I just wanted to see some people die in some really horrific, funny ways, and I enjoyed it. I had I'd give this a matinee.
Wow. Man, I so wish I could have enjoyed it the same way you did, because every time I saw the trailer for it, I was like, you know what? This does look like a throwback to those first two movies, and I like this new angle, and this is going to be fun. And yet, for me, that big opening, kill thing with the vision, I was digging it until the kills started happening, and it was like, wow, that's just so cartoonish. It completely is taking me out of it. But then, you get to the real kills, and that first one with the gymnastics, it kind of peaked for me right there. Everything after that, I was just like, man, I'm either not liking what's going on, or it's just getting straight up boring. I don't care what's going on. It's not pulling me in. As co-host brought up, it does have, a good ending, and I have to give it credit that it worked the 3D the whole time. Because I was kind of like, man, this is really kind of like some old bullshit to me, except, okay, they're creative with the 3D. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's just a gimmick that's getting used over and over to keep you interested and not really part of the movie. And it's like, I would say, like, okay, that would make me go like, okay, well, I'll give it a rental for that. But wait, if you rent it, you're going to miss the 3D.
You were like the Gollum of ratings. You argue with yourself.
It's like watching. This is what it's like living in Leon's brain.
He's sitting right there, but I'm watching like it's a ping pong match. I'm watching like it's a ping pong match right now. My head is going back and forth.
It's just at Leon.
It's true. It's just one of those, like, man, I so wish I could have enjoyed all that stuff, but every negative thing y'all said, that's all I could see the whole time. It just really, it's some old bullshit to me.
Wow. I can't feel that way at all. I'm sorry you do, because I had fun with this. Maybe it was because I was really, no matter what I had heard ahead of time, I was expecting yet another of the lame ones like the last two, which were indeed, the third one was passable, but the fourth one was not passable.
Oh, shit.
It was shit. And I was ready for it to be even worse. And it wasn't. It was a step back in the right direction, as I said before. Is it anywhere near as good as the first two? No. But I hope somebody is paying attention to what people are saying about why they like this one better than the last two, and say, okay, well, let's build from that. Some good kills along the way. I thought the 3D was fun, but only in that Piranha 3D sort of way.
Yeah.
I thought it was badly done, but they knew they were in a silly horror film, so they just kept throwing stuff at you. And I was like, okay, you even made me kind of twitch a couple times. But it's for Final Destination fans, it's one you're gonna want to go see in the theater. Just don't expect to be blown away. I'm gonna give this actually a high rental, but enthusiastically high rental.
Yeah, I have to give it a rental, just a plain rental, only because like it's the gymnastic and the ending. The ending I really loved. The ending got as intense as it was as intense as the first and second one. Just with that last scene, where I'm like, damn, that sucks. But on that token, though, it was lame. I had to sit through at least some kind of boring kills that I'm like, okay. And and I guess the 3D and the CG, where I guess they're going more and more with CG only because it's so cheap that they can do it and they can make the kills inventive, but at the same time, it has no effect on you because it's like, you know what? Just throw SpongeBob in there. I mean, just have fucking a truck engine or anything fall on SpongeBob. and I'm gonna react the same way, like, ha, ha, ha. All right, well, that's not whatever. That's not a real person. And I think if they actually took the time to use real practical effects, a lot of these deaths in this movie would have been that much. It would have punched the audience in the stomach like it should have, you know. But I have to give it a rental because it's still a fun movie. I still am a fan of these Final Destination films, and I hope they keep doing them because I mean there's so much more room. If they get a more creative writer and director to work on these, I think this series can keep going and going and just be as fun as the Friday the 13th movies.
What a great opportunity this would be, too, for somebody, you know, a young up-and-comer who hasn't really proved himself yet, but has shown that they've got some chops, like in school. This is the type of film you should give to somebody like, wow, they've done some wildly creative stuff early on, some short films. Go wild. Let's see what you got here for the Final Destination.
No, this
film.
is
a perfect thing for somebody like that. To come
yeah,
along
that's a great point, man. This is definitely the kind of film series to bring in, like, really creative, talented people.
Hungry, young, new, creative blood.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to pay some well-known guy to do this.
No,
just get somebody who doesn't want to be workmanlike about this, who wants to be the guy who directed the comeback film for the Final Destination series and shit. Then you're going to have something. It's not hard. We already gave you something, Hollywood.
Yeah. And once you get done making that film, then you can go on to make the Roadrunner cartoons.
Oh, I was going to
That'll
say,
be
you get
fucking
these young
badass.
kids in there, and then once they get the film made, you kill them.
See, now that's not
This was your Final Destination. We didn't tell you
that's
that.
not till Final Destination's New Nightmare. That's number what is that, number 10 or something?
Yeah.
Where like it's all meta
Like 8.
and it's like, oh wow, the Final Destination films, we stopped making them and now they're really happening to all the
That's just it.
actors
It'll
and
just be-
directors.
like all the guys who directed Final Destinations are dying one by one.
Yeah, put them in the movie. Make it a snuff.
That would be badass.
To some of them, they've got it coming.
And instead
That would be cool, like
Well,
New
it wasn't
Nightmare,
their
where you
careers.
you actually put the directors in the movie.
The
have them-
directors and the actors who are in the various films.
Yeah,
Like,
they-
fuck it, I saw that once, but I'll see it again.
They can't be any worse than the actors they have now. So-
It'd be gold if Leslie Nielsen were still alive, only so he can go and meet Tony Todd to tell him, Death don't like it when you make fun of him.
Even Diego Death was a huge fan of the Final Destination movies, and he's so pissed that you stopped making them that now he's killing everyone from the films in the order that they died in the films that they came out.
Or, even better, when they make that final movie, they should just set up the most elaborate trap and even have Destin up there watching. And when the kids get away, Destin's like, fuck it, I'll just do this myself. Just come with a gun. Excuse me. Bam!
That's like an actual mousetrap.
Opening with him having a phone call with Jigsaw, just trying to get some pointers on, like, how do you set these things up? Because mine just don't seem to work out.
When we're done, you'll have perfect vision. I'll be right back.